Hello, legends and super legends.
Good morning, legends.
Are you seeing double? It's just the two of us. Okay.
That's right.
This is Team Veloharmony. We're going with our Rafa kits. Same kit. Pro Team thermal jersey. It's cold outside. It's 49 Fahrenheit. It's almost like 9C, right. 8 or 9C. So that the high will be 10C, let's say. Mm-hmm. Then it will drop back to 8C during the ride. The day is not going to warm up. And it rained all night. Even our city put out notices that drivers should stay off the road because we have places where they have dips under the freeway frontage roads that you can't see the water, and drivers have driven into them. I mentioned that on the live stream. And we've lost a lot of people that just drove into 10, 12 feet of water and drowned. And so it's not that they couldn't get out of the car, but it was because the water's moving, and once it gets a hold of that car, it probably flips it over, and you just disorient, and before you know it, you run out of air. So it's very unsafe. But where we're going, we don't have those issues. Right. We're going north. We're going higher elevation, and we're going to use roads that are low level. In fact, my wife just told me, "Oh, y'all be careful because water might be underwater." And I told her, "Yeah." I said that warning was for you guys who are hitting the city. The city has low-lying areas. So we're headed north. We're not going to do Honey, Egypt, because that road is low. So we're going to stay on Fish Creek, and we're going to stay on the main drag. And if we come across water, we'll film it for you guys, and you will see us turn around. We're not going to ride through any water that's moving or unsafe. So Team RR is probably not going to do anything today because nobody put out a message. When I woke up this morning at 5:30, I saw a message about midnight.
Right.
I think, So somehow midnight, 12:05 a.m., Scott put out a message for Team RR to say, if you're going, you're on your own, something like that.
To each his own.
Yeah, to each his own. I'm like, why you wait till midnight?
Yeah.
And then another guy, Rudy, said, because Scott had mentioned that, I think it might be okay, or maybe he wasn't sure. Rudy said, no, it's not. It's raining, basically. So I responded when I got up this morning and just told them, Paul and I are heading out at 7:30, meaning the same time. And if you don't have mud guards, if you don't have rain gear, don't. Because it's cold.
That's it.
Basically, if you're going to do this and you want to do it under all conditions, we've talked about it on this channel, you've got to have the right gear. So we're dressing warm. Yeah. You can see I got a base layer for me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Same here.
And as I've said before, everybody's different. Paul's wearing a balaclava. Paul's wearing a green base layer, long sleeve under there. Right. Because we all regulate temperature differently. I kind of run a little hot. So if I try to dress like Paul, I would be unzipping before he did on the ride. Mm-hmm. So I've got a lighter base layer, sleeveless. He's got a long sleeve base layer. And you see him putting on his rain cape. Step back so we can see you, my brother.
All right.
Yeah. So we got the same rain cape.
We're ready for business.
We're ready for business. We used this on Thursday, I believe. Thursday it rained on us. I got the bike here so you can see. The mud guards are on there already. I left it there since Thursday. I just cleaned the chain. I didn't clean the bike or anything because I knew it was going to rain.
I had to clean mine because mine is white. I can't stand a dirty bike. So.
Yeah, his bike, white shows everything. Some people don't believe so, but white shows everything. So he had to clean his. But you can see we got our Pro Team cape. Yep. And this is what I talk about on the channel. You see all the layers we have. And we don't look like the Michelin Man.
There you go.
So quality counts. Save up your pennies, take advantage of them doing the sale, get the best stuff, and then you are done. I only have one rain cape. I have an old school rain jacket from 30 years ago.
Yeah,
show it to them.
Yeah.
There you go. This is the old school when I used to race. This is what was available to us. This is made by Castelli. Okay? 30 years old. But if I wore this, I would get hot. That was the problem. Even though Castelli tried to put a little bit of ventilation on the side.
Let him out that for them, man.
Oh, you want to put it on? Okay, cool.
I'll put it on so they
Let me show it on the side and then you put it on. This is what Castelli tried to do because this is plastic. It doesn't breathe. So they put a little bit of mesh here 30 years ago. Put it on.
This is how we used to look like, old school.
You move the flag out of the way. 30 years ago, that's what you wore. You can still see your team kit, but it was hot. I rarely ever, and it has like Velcro. Yeah.
Velcro in the front.
Yeah.
Just line it up,
Yeah. Look at that.
and that's
Is
it.
that cool?
I have it underneath.
That was in the 80s. I had it in the late 80s, like 89. And look at the tail. Turn around and show them the tail.
Yeah.
This was the tail to keep the spray off of you. Because back then, nobody used mud guards on the road bikes when you were racing. And we didn't have those little plastic, what they
And
call
the cool thing
acid.
about it, it still works today.
Yeah, come down a little bit so you can see. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it would work today, but you would end up riding with it like that. That's how I did it. And then I would do this on the bike, because you don't get that much rain down here. So we do this, and we do this.
Right.
You left out, and you just left the middle. It's the same, think about it, that's the same design. Let's show them. This is what Rafa is dealing with. This is the same design. Rafa designed this to where when you're hot, you just do this. You don't have to zip it.
Right.
So the top is open, the bottom is open. Same like that. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Isn't that something? I'm telling you.
Same concept.
Simon Motra got it figured out.
There we go.
So the more
Yes,
things change, the more they remain the same. I got that from the Matrix, Revolutions. Look at that. Look at that. That is cool, my brother.
Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah, so I can wear that, but today, no, we're going with the modern stuff. So this has just been in the closet hanging up. 30 years old, man. Look at that bad boy. Classic. Castelli. So,
Still, it gives you the chance to get the job done.
yes.
That's what it matters.
TCB taking care of business.
That's right.
I'm going to
So-
put this here.
I'm gonna start putting.
We're gonna
my
go
shoe-
ahead and get ready. So you guys get the K's in.
There we go.
Okay. On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton, went through Creekside Park. We took the long way out, we're not in a hurry. We went up through Sterling Ridge directly to Research Forest, cut through Old Egypt Road, got on Fish Creek there, because Fish Creek is a high road. We didn't have to worry about water. Got into Ridge Lake Shores, did a loop in that subdivision, and then headed out on 2854 past Honier into Keenan. Then we came back south on Raven Chapel Road. It's a very interesting ride. My computer stopped right there. I ran out of power, but I did a manual entry on Strava and got that sorted out. We're heading out. Do not let the weather stop you. I'm wearing my Endura rain-proof gloves. They're very breathable and they keep your hands dry and warm.
Let's do this, man. Let's go.
They're not for deep cold, but down to about 4C they're good. It's on the website on the recommended site of products.
Yeah, it's wet. It rained all night. This is lovely.
We're going alone because we know that Team RR is not riding. They didn't even schedule a ride. It was like, the post was like, you're on your own. So we decided to ease into the morning. That's why we're leaving at 7:22.
Like the other day.
And we're just gonna head north.
The rain jacket. So,
We've got
I know
our
I'm
rain
gonna be
cape
fine.
on. I mentioned rain cape. You will see
you want to feel a
Sunday's
little
ride.
cool right now.
This is a
As we
double
roll out.
feature today. We're doing Saturday's ride, which you're seeing now, and then we're going to show you Sunday's ride as well, because those guys came to ride on Sunday. But when I mentioned, because they asked us whether we rode in the rain, and we told them yeah, and I mentioned we had our rain cape.
So we got a little bit of light drizzle, legends. But The weather's been changing. It was not supposed to be rainy at this time. It's supposed to be cloudy. We're gonna turn left. Be careful over there. A lot of water. Water and leaves are not our friends.
And what I was saying was, one of the guys didn't even know what rain cape meant. So
the leaves on the ground that are wet, they're not your friend. When you're cornering, keep your bike upright as much as possible. And also the white painted lines. Everybody's dressing up the yard for Christmas. I'm not stringing up any lights. I got time for that. We got those lights that shine on the house. It's easy. I stick it in the ground, plug it in.
yeah, that's a low maintenance kind of lights.
The yard's gonna be like a swamp.
But what I was saying is, not everybody should know everything about cycling.
Legends. I just want to show you guys. I hope. Let me put this on
basic
follow
things
mode,
people should know.
so they can follow me.
And right around the corner from the house, we came across this
Gloves is always hard.
at the golf course.
Let's get up on this sidewalk, my brother. Since we're stopped, let's get off the street. Yeah. Okay. It's just a responsible thing to do. Let me move this. Okay. So what I want to do is
Let me see if I can. What do you want to?
follow. I want to push the mode button. Yeah. Push that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Follow mode allows the camera to see that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the water. I want you guys to see we had so much rain last night. They said minimum of 3, as much as 8 inches in certain areas. This creek is usually just a trickle of water. This is the golf course near the house. And look at this, just overnight, we got so much rain, the creeks have just filled up. This creek is like,
Coming from this side,
yeah,
rolling down.
I don't know if it will pick
You're
up.
looking at about 8 feet of water over there. There's a 8-foot hole that we
Careful,
usually
you
see with a trickle of like a stream.
So,
and look
this
at what
is
we
going
have.
from west to east, as Paul said. Just one little bit of rain overnight, but we got the volume that we got. You get 8 inches of rain in less than 24 hours. I mean, in like 8 hours. You can see the water almost at the edge of the golf course. This water here usually is a deep hole with just a trickle of water that's like 6 to 8 feet.
Is it level up the sand?
Now it's already, so the water has risen about 8 feet since just overnight. That's what we're dealing with. That's why our route, we're going to consider only roads that are not low-lying. That's why Honia Egypt will not work. This is why drivers were told to stay off the roads. Because when this happens in the city, those underpasses, I call them, have this 6 to 8 feet of water. People drive in it and get killed and drown.
Because they can't see them at night. It's dark and they don't see the water.
It's not really good when you're on the bike filming people, because if you do it like this,
So
it hits the ground.
when it was raining Friday night, I told my wife, she was out, I said, come home.
I'm making sure that the underside of my tail is clear. I'm having trouble flipping in sometimes when the shoe covers in the way.
Yeah.
Everything is compromised. So I'm making sure I pull this up. Yeah, I think I'm good. Yeah, the shoe feels good on your foot. Sometimes it feels too tight.
Yeah.
That's good.
You have to get it just right.
All right.
I run hot, so I've got my cape open right now. At this point of the ride, we're on Fish Creek North, headed towards Ridge Lake Shores. You can see I just used the Velcro and closed the middle so I can have some ventilation.
It's cold and windy, so sapping our speed, but not our spirits.
Paul runs cooler than I am, so he's got his zipped up completely. I really love the way the rain cape fits. We've got a lot of layers under that rain cape, and you can see it still fits well. That's why I size up my jackets. We're going into the wind, up a climb, and it's windy and rainy. And because we're dressed properly, we don't have to worry about it. Our feet will
protected very well. We found a way, I will do a video later, of how to keep water out of the bottom of the shoe, because water comes in where the cleat bolts are. And we found a way to keep it from getting on your feet. So we're experimenting, so I didn't want to talk about it, but later on I'll do a video about that, or talk about it in one of the live sessions. So we're completely protected from the cold and the wet. I'm telling Paul that when it rains, all the debris is washed to the side. That's why I'm not using the shoulder. We're using his lane, because the shoulder will have all the debris that the rain has washed over, and that's how you can get flats when it rains. Use the road. And when it's raining, there are fewer cars on the road. I'm sure you've observed. We got a few cars, but they're using the left lane. But you will find that this entire stretch, it's no problem with cars. This is Ridge Lake Shores. We're turning into Ridge Lake Shores here. Watch my turn. A smooth arc. This is not where you lean the bike. When it's wet, you gotta be careful with that. Get your speed down and take wider turns. You're not gonna save any time ending up on the pavement. We turn this way to avoid the battering of the wind. For a little while, it's like a respite as we cut through here. There's some nice climbs in here. It's one of the areas that we used to frequent because it's got some nice climbs and loops. In a little while, we come across a driver that runs a stop sign. It wasn't very dangerous because we pay attention, but it's kind of a teaching moment, and that's why, you know, we actually saw a cyclist run a red light while we were standing at the red light behind a car waiting for the light to change. I believe it was on Sunday when we're going to meet Team RR. We're at the light behind a car. He comes from behind, just runs the red light. And it was a blind corner. And so he just basically tossed a coin on his life. And I looked at him like, what a moron. When you hear that car hits the cyclist, get the details before you get all worked up about it. Because there are a bunch of idiots out there on bicycles that take chances that are just stupid. Like the guy we witnessed on Sunday. I mean, imagine if a car came behind a line of cars at the light and just went around them and ran the light. You know, same difference. That's what he did. Making all of us look bad. That's why these drivers don't trust us at intersections. They expect us to do stupid things. I was very annoyed and disturbed to see that. It makes all of us look bad. So here we slow down. I check right and left. You can see my head moving, and we'll go ahead and take a wide turn and go through. He ran that light on a bicycle without even slowing down to check. At a corner, which is a four-way intersection where you don't have full visibility for the people that had green lights. If a car had been there, he would have been killed. If a car had been coming. Just totally reckless. And I made it a point to not even catch up to him. We just stayed behind. I didn't want to be anywhere near him for them to associate him with us in any way, shape, or form. So right here, we're coming up to this intersection. There's a four-way stop sign in this neighborhood. And I always check when we're climbing it's up a hill. You will see I freeze frame in a little while. That car right there, well, I didn't freeze. She just runs the stop sign. It's a lady. I back off, and she just runs the stop sign. Then when she saw us, she kind of had this sheepish look on her face because she was embarrassed because someone else was out. She was running the stop sign because she probably figured she was the only one out. And even if you're the only one, whether you're in a car, I mean, she didn't even check. I had to basically stop pedaling and going up the hill. It wasn't a hassle, but man. So you always want to expect them to do the wrong thing. Don't ever assume. That's why we talk about making eye contact where possible or watching their wheels. Don't assume they're going to obey the law. And pretty much in anything, it applies to cyclists as well. You just need to be careful when you're out there. We ride too frequently to not be. The more you ride, the more likely you're going to encounter stuff like that, so you have to be careful. You can't toss a coin for your safety. So my jacket is, I'm getting a little cold, so I go ahead and get the zipper and zip up. Since I'm going directly into the wind here, headed north, hands-free is very easy because it's blowing straight, it's not blowing from the side. All I do is increase my speed here for more stability. And I go ahead and zip just the bottom of my ring case to leave the top open. You can see how it fits. Right there's a car that runs the sign again. That's a four-way. It just goes through. So I guess it's something they do in the neighborhood. I pointed out the ball, you know. So two of them in a row. So they're running these signs in the neighborhood because nobody's out. It's not busy. So they're careless. So when you're riding, just make sure you check. So I'll come to the same intersection he just ran. I look both ways, make sure nobody's coming, and go across. You don't have to put your foot down, but you do need to make sure it's safe if you're going to go across. Just to ride defensively. A lot of places that are quiet like that, sometimes the officers will hide and pick up people that run those signs carelessly in a car or whatever. We've been stopped on the bicycle by an officer in the neighborhood near where we live. And he was nice about it, but he told us, hey, you need to at least stop for that sign. So what we do is we slow down. If there's a car there, I stop. Whether I on-clip or not, I'll come to a stop with my brakes. I can do track stands and so forth. A lot of times I wave the driver on because they'll think that I'm not going to stop because I didn't on-clip. But you do have to. If nobody's there, I still slow down and check to make sure, and then I go through. Don't blow the sign at speed. And you're most likely to get stopped by an officer and get a ticket if you do that. The guy that stopped us that day to tell us about the sign, he didn't bother us because he saw us slow down, but we didn't really come to a good stop. And he was just letting us know, be careful. He could tell we knew what we're doing. They can tell when you're serious about it. So he was very nice about it. Happens to be a guy that patrols our neighborhood too, so he looked familiar. But I just pointed that out, so when you're out riding, just don't assume. Just don't take a chance. Be careful. Pay attention. You need your eyes, your ears, everything about you. That's why I don't listen to music on the bike. I just ride. There's a deer here. One of the things we enjoy when we're out here. The deer here, right there. He's standing there, so I move left because those guys, they cross the road like crazy animals. As we approach, he goes in the woods. Then his partner is on this side on the left. I spotted him when I got closer. He comes to, so now I'm looking for more because they're usually in groups. So I'm looking around to make sure there's no more. I don't want him running in my path. And we're just riding these hills. There is no speed record being set. If you ride the hills like you see us riding, I am in zone 1. I will end up in zone 2 by the time we're done. My heart rate has to catch up. I'm riding at an effort of 2 out of 5 by feed. If you have a power meter, you're zone 2. When you're doing your long, steady rides, ride zone 2, do a long ride with a lot of hills. When it's time to hit zone 4 with the boys, you'll be ready. You don't need to kill yourself on a climb because then you get sick of climbing. Save the harder efforts for your very hard days or with the group. Just learn to ride the climb and get the sensations down. So we're riding at what I call a conversational pace. After the climb, we got on 2854. It's cold, the rain has stopped.
long climb we're gonna show you guys.
But I decided to show you guys a long climb that we have. Doesn't go more than 3.5%, I think, maybe 4%. It's gradual, but it's longer than most of the ones out here. It's Raven Chapel Road that we usually hammer going north. We're gonna take it going south. You ride the same courses, but ride them differently so you can get different experience on the same road. Because one downhill becomes a climb. I left my rain cape up over the pockets because I had to get the camera out of my middle pocket. And also when I'm getting my food, it's easier with that cape up there like that. In fact, I had put 2 gels in the front pocket of the cape. Because Robert gave you a pocket in the front, near where your ribs are, on the left side. And I put a couple of gels in there. Paul's telling me where the turn is because I thought it was the road that was coming up. He said no, it's further down. Rain stopped, but the road is still wet. If you look at my tire, you will see just a light spray, kind of a white little streak on the road. That's what gets you dirty. See, it hit the camera right there. That's what gets you dirty. It's not the rain that gets you dirty. It's the crap from your front wheel and your rear wheel. There's a guy named Hector Radicals on the channel, one of our super legends, a supporter of the channel. And he made a comment. He said he has one of these set of mud guards. He said his friends, he's in Florida, they were laughing at him. And you know, in Florida, even in the summer, they get showers all the time in the afternoon when it's real hot. So I told him, I said, you should laugh at them when they get that stupid dirty mark on the back of their jerseys and their shorts are wet and soaking and all their shoes are messed up. You should be laughing at them because it's not cool to look filthy because you chose to ride a bike without the proper equipment. You know, since when is it cool to go out there looking like you're not prepared? We rode in the rain for hours, about 4 hours plus, and we were dry and warm. Let them try doing that looking cool without mud guards. See how that works. Their butt would be frozen because look at the temperature, 5C. Can you imagine riding in the wind in 5C for 4 hours, wet? You would be sick. That's why nobody's out today, because all of them want to look cool. That's why only the 2 of us are out. The rest of them looking cool. Because they don't want to put mud guards on their bicycle. When I grew up, all the bikes had mud guards. I don't understand that nonsense. There's a horse over there looking at us. I pointed at it. This is where the climb kind of begins here. It's a little less than 1%, so it hasn't registered, but it will. Right about here, it kicks in at 1%. I edited this for time. This is a long climb. Goes to the left, it kicks up, it's like in stages. It feels almost like going up a gradual climb in the mountains with mild grades. So we come out here intentionally and ride this southbound on a regular basis. And that's why you don't need to kill yourself. This climb is probably maybe 5 to 7 minutes, I'm guessing. I haven't timed it. So it's long enough to have a good workout. And you can even do repeats on it. And look how the road is quiet. It's always like this. Not just because it's raining. As it goes left, the grade changes. almost like somewhat you would get on a switchback. So you ride these kind of climbs to get a feel of the rhythm. We're riding probably zone 2. And so you learn the climb. And then when you come with the boys, look at the water on the bottom of my tire. That's how you get dirty when you ride, when you're looking cool without mud guards. That's what gets you dirty and wet. So with the shoe covers, the mud guards, the front is protected. That's what sprays your feet when you're riding without them. We just stayed completely dry. No worries. Great. The right equipment for the job. Any job you're gonna do, get the right tools. You will reap the benefits. So we don't let the weather stop us unless it's unsafe. Everybody else was at home and we were out getting in the kilometers. And look at the climb. It's gonna go to the right. It's gonna kick up. They may say 1%. It's closer to 2% here in this corner, but it's gonna rise up. So it keeps going up in stages. Up the road is gonna go left. It goes up again. I love this road. You can get a nice rhythm. Teaches you how to climb.
Look at this road.
I told Paul, B-E-A, beautiful. Got that from Bruce Almighty, the movie. I was joking with Mark on Sunday. You will see Sunday's ride. It was cold and cloudy and dry. And I told him, what a beautiful day for a bike ride. He didn't agree. Oh, it's a good day. I don't think it's a beautiful day for a bike ride. I just kind of chuckled because our mantra is, every day is a great day, okay? You're healthy, you're out, you're doing what you want to do. That's great. Be thankful for it. The weather may be challenging. It's still a beautiful day. This day was fabulous. We enjoyed it. It was cold, but we were prepared because chance favors the prepared mind. Look at this climb. We're still climbing all this time, and I edited it. The long climb. In this area, we don't have that many of them. Got those little rollers and stuff, but this one, and once you finish it, this is Ribbon Chapel South. We come the other way on Saturday, but we don't come straight this way. We usually turn right. Where you see the left turn coming is where we turn right. So we're going opposite. That's where we turn right when we come. So now we're going south. We're just gonna go straight. We're gonna hit a couple more rollers. When you've done a long climb like that, the rollers are nothing. So just learn to ride the climbs. You don't have to kill yourself. You do enough of them, you will build strength. And stay smooth. Look at my feet. I'm teaching my body how to ride. Your neuromuscular pathways will be built to where when you're going hard, you will be just as smooth. You don't need to be thrashing all over your bike. See the water on Paul's helmet. Beautiful day. Look at this. You notice there aren't that many cars passing us because it's wet. People don't want to be out. So it's great to ride when it's wet. They don't want to go out. They order pizza in. They order food, takeout in. So the roads are clear. You can count on one hand how many cars passed us on this stretch. We just enjoyed being out there, which was great. And then another thing we noticed, they gave us the whole lane on Fish Creek. Nobody was passing us in our lane. Every now and then you get on a Yahoo, but we just used the lane.
This is where you blow the kiss.
Paul's talking about usually blow a kiss. There was the RDBC Grand Fondo, and some people were messing with us, trying to pass back and forth. And when a hill came, I blew a kiss to the hill as we rode away. That's what Paul's talking about. Share that joke. So we've been climbing in excess of 6 minutes, I'm guessing. And for us, that's a long climb. So if you want to really learn how to climb, you can come on a place like this in our area and then do a loop. Go back to 2854, do that loop twice. You've got about 12 minutes of climbing plus what you come across on 2854. You don't need to live in the mountains to learn how to climb. You can use the wind and you use what you have. When you get there, you put it in the proper gear, you'll be ready. Just teach your body how to handle sustained effort in the zone you're going to use. At the high altitude level, you just have to compensate, because if you don't do altitude training and you don't go early enough to adapt, you're going to have to monitor the zone that you're able to use. So after that, this is Sunday. As we roll out, it was a low turnout, of course, because it was cold. It was even colder than Saturday.
It's cold. Might be 4C if that.
I guess that right.
And with the humidity, it feels colder.
So we roll out, and what I do is
Shout out the guys in their outfits.
I roll alongside the guys to get them in their outfits, because we have varying levels of comfort out here. Paul's got his Castelli convertible jacket on. So this is what happens. You've got the guys that, like yesterday we're riding, we came across, in the rain, we came across Jerry. I know Mo probably rode. You have people like us that ride regardless, rain or shine. Then you got people that would show up only on sunny days and want to show off. And that's why they pay the price. So they don't respect the fact that they're riding with different levels of riders. So you see where this guy on the right is? There's no reason for him to be there. There's nothing wrong with his lane. Look at all the crap he's riding through. That's how you get flats. Don't ride there. That's not a lane. It's a driveway. It's just a side of the road. It's a shoulder for emergency. If there's a lot of crap there, don't ride there. You're not gonna see me riding over there. There's 2 lanes, I'll take the right one. Even if it was 1, I'd use this lane. The cars can go around. You don't need to ride in debris. That is not safe. The law says, as far to the right as practical. It's not practical to ride in debris. Use your best judgment. Especially with a group, you're riding with a bunch of people, take the lane. There's no reason for them to be riding over there. I basically ended up telling them that. Like, why are you riding over there? I said, that's why you guys have a lot of flats. Makes no sense to be there. It's a courtesy to ride there when it's on a narrow road and it's busy. That's a courtesy. You don't have to ride there. You have the right to use the road. So you don't need to endanger yourself by riding in debris and all kinds of crap. It's not a bike lane. We just ride there because, especially if we're going real slow or we're chatting, but only if it's safe. So we stopped here. I ended up speeding it up because the same guy who was riding in the debris had a problem with his bike. I don't know if it was related to him riding in the debris, but he's back there messing with it. And so we wait here for him. And so what I do is I speed it up because it was a little bit of a wait. So you have to be particular where your tires roll. You need to know where your tires rolling. That's your responsibility. You can't just go out there just riding all kinds of stuff on the road. Use the road. You'll see them do it again when we get across 1488. They act like they're relegated to the shoulder. You're not. There's a lot of crap on that shoulder and they're riding there, and this lane is empty. So when they have a flat now, I'm gonna just start laughing. You know, there is no reason for them. There's nothing wrong with the lane. You see where Mark is? That's where you should be. There's nothing wrong with the lane. Why would you ride in those rocks and stuff that's on the shoulder? Shoulder's not clean. Use the road. So I'm on the road. You can see where I am. I got my Victoria tires. It was singing to me. I used them in the rain. Just something about that Victoria Evo. The music they make. That's what I listen to. I don't listen to any other music. I listen to my tires. Those Victoria, they sing when you're rolling down the road. It's beautiful to listen to. So now we're going straight, so I move over into the lane that's going straight. Only use the shoulder if it's safe. And if you're on the shoulder and you want to come back onto the lane into traffic, you need to check. That's your responsibility because you chose to be on the shoulder. If you're gonna plant yourself in the lane, you plant yourself in the lane and stay there so the drivers can predict your course of
As
travel.
long as it's not pointing at the ground, we'll be good.
Thank you.
Yeah, just hold it on the side, do the best you can. Don't mess with it.
Riding on the shoulder is a courtesy. You are not required to be there. There is no law that says you must be there. You make a judgment and you put yourself in the spot that is safest for you accordingly. And nobody in the 52 states of the United States will bother you, no officer or whatever.
That new battery?
A lot of cyclists don't understand that, and even especially non-cyclists will come by blowing their horn like it's their road. Like when they stepped off the Mayflower, there was nobody here. You know, very territorial, misbehaving. Two fleas fighting over the dogs they live on. So we go across 1488 here. I pull my shoe covers up in the back to expose more of the shoe. I don't want to risk walking on them. You see where I am? Look at all the crap on the right. And they're riding over that stuff. That's why they have flats. This is how I avoid flats. I might go 12 to 18 months before I have a flat. That's how. It's not magic. There's no reason to be riding over those rocks. There's nothing wrong with the lane. You know? So even though I'm not getting the best draft, I sit on the road. Just you will continue to see that. I was asking them, why are you guys over there? You know, it's early in the morning. There are two lanes going in this direction. We don't need to be on the shoulder. We can use the right lane. You guys have seen the bike bar. They take up the entire right lane in a double pace line. When you're riding in a group, especially in the city like they do, that's the safest way to ride. You take the lane. You see where I am? You watch where they're riding. See how much crap they're trying to avoid. That's more. Now look at Bob. Yeah, he apologized to me. He thought I was behind him. I didn't say anything because they didn't call it. He went over it and he was apologizing. But look at where I'm sitting. I'm looking around them and I'm not getting on that shoulder. When you see me on the shoulder, it's clean. And I will do that to give the rider behind me room, maybe from a crosswind or whatever. Or if it's busy and the shoulder is clean, then I get there so that the cars can get by us easier. But it's not busy. We got two lanes. Why? That just doesn't make sense. You see where Paul and I are? We ride out here all the time. So when we're coming back, when Paul and I are on this road coming back in the afternoon like that, it's busy. So what we do is we use the shoulder because on the other side there's not as much crap. But I stay pretty close to the white line. And if I need to use the lane, I check, then I get on the road where necessary. But in this situation with so many riders, there's no reason why we can't just take the right lane. So I just sit on the right. And my tires just sing to me. And you can see all the crap they're dealing with. They keep moving back and waving this and waving that. And I'm like, please. I'm on the road. I had turned off my rear light when we met them at the parking lot. It was on when we rode from the house. That's the Dice 50. I ended up turning it on later. But I made this point about positioning because a lot of cyclists and especially drivers don't know that we have the right to use the road. They will come and be blowing at you like you're in their living room. Bunch of jerks. Like the road engineers. So you're in a group, you can ride two abreast, you can take the road. We ride to the right out of courtesy. You are not required. I'm repeating myself because it's something that people have to understand. It needs to be emphasized. You have the right to use the road. It doesn't mean if some moron tries to hit you with his car, you need to stay there. You get out of the way, get his license plate, and you get him in court. Their attitude changes when they show up in court. They think we come from Mars to come on these bikes on the weekends. We live right here. Once they get that straight, it's a whole different attitude. Right there, this guy's messing around. That's Dan. And watch him twitch right there. And that's what can cause a wreck when people are messing around instead of riding. So we back off right here. We back off. Paul sees that too.
You start messing around instead of riding.
You hear me tell you guys, that's what can cause a wreck. And I'm just waiting for somebody to fall. Because I've seen that many times. And then they're still just not really riding. And after a while, I go ahead and just show them what we should be doing instead of trying to find a way to fall. You want a horseplay, you do it somewhere else. When it's time to ride in a bunch, it's not time to mess around. So right there, I just go ahead and give it a stick. Let's get to the business of riding. That's why we're out here. It's cold. 3C. We didn't come out here to play around. We came to ride. Let's get to it. So I kick it up. The road's going up. No messing around. Ride. So accidents happen when people are horseplaying and not paying attention. You don't have to be going fast to fall. In fact, those falls are the worst ones. You hit the ground real hard and you break stuff. The spectacular crashes where you see people sliding, they don't usually do too much damage because they're sliding. I get up there and I just sit there. The speeds are going down a little bit because of the wind. We're going into the wind and the road goes up, but the effort is the same. You can see Michael's working here. That road's going up and I'm forcing it there. I'm doing 3 out of 5 effort-wise. Scott's having trouble on the left here as the boys ride up. I guess they weren't ready to get ready to ride. We here to ride. Let's do this. At this point, we don't know this road is impassable. We find out in a few kilometers. You can see I start to pour it all right here. The effort is the same. The speeds are going up because we're a little away. We're going west instead of north right here. And then it's flatter a little bit. So the speed's picked up, but the effort is the same. I'm riding steadily. And I know that in a bit it's gonna go downhill, which will give us even more speed at this effort. I'm riding right about tempo, the sweet spot. I don't look at heart rate when I'm riding. I just ride by feel. I'm just rolling whatever gear I'm in. And you see all the horseplay stop. Now the group is safe. And right here we find that the road is closed. There is an arm for flood control that is across the road. So I want to see. I'm up there. I want to see what's going on down there, because you can get around the arm and go down to the bottom of the hill. This is the hill we usually attack when we're coming south on Honia, Egypt, one of our favorite roads out here. And so we see the arm right there. They've got another arm about 3 or 4 kilometers the other side.
Yeah.
So they expect that much. I guess they're not close enough. So Paul wants to see.
We're gonna go take a picture, man.
It looks like a lake. It's like there shouldn't even be a road here. You know, this is the first time I've seen this road flooded. First time I've been out here. And this is from 8 inches of rain on Friday night. This is Sunday. And the creeks have risen. So no wonder there was no car passing us on Honia, Egypt. Look at this. Lake Honia.
Wow, this is beautiful, man.
It's beautiful. I like this
Look
kind
at
of
this,
stuff.
guys.
It should be a lake. They should put a bridge here.
Look, it goes up to 7
They need to
feet.
start the bridge right
Look at
here,
the mark.
raise this road, and go across.
On the other side, they have a marker. Remember, way on the other
Right.
side. So that means it's
Paul
the whole
said that
area.
this marker on the left on that pole goes to 7
8
feet.
inches of rain will do that overnight.
I think the Nile
And
River
8 inches of rain in less than 8 hours.
I mean, look at the force of the water moving over there.
Bob's gonna take a picture,
That is cool, man.
and I think Scott gets in Bob's picture. You will see that.
Let's go.
And these guys.
All right, let's go back to it. I'm glad we didn't come here yesterday. That's why we stayed on.
We have watered this road yesterday because it is low. It has a history of this. Bob's taking a picture, so Scott gets in the frame. And he smiles.
Yeah, we gotta go back.
Everybody's taking a picture.
Yeah.
So we end up turning around, but it turns out that there's a road up there on the left into a neighborhood called Trace, Montgomery Trace, something like that. It turns out I had looked on the map, I didn't see it go through to any other. I thought it was just dead end. The sign there, when you enter the subdivision up the hill, says dead end. It turns out it's not a dead end. I think they just want to keep cars out of there. So this guy on my right, in front of me here on the right, Paul. His name is Paul. Also, he said it goes through. So he knew for a
Mark, we can
fact.
turn left up here and go through the. How many square foot? Can we?
I don't think it goes through.
I don't think it goes through, and then he confirmed that it does go through. Paul on the right there, in the black and blue. He says it goes through. So Mark is up there, Scott's up there. We start to roll. Then a bunch of the guys are still there taking pictures. So there's quite a gap to them.
Wow. But they know.
So we get up the hill, and the turn is up there in that curve.
That's how you have crashes. We saw horse playing on the road. We got guys way back there.
I was letting them know that we got a bunch of guys back there. So
On the map when I look, I didn't see that it went through. Well, let's check
this
it out.
is where we turn. So we pass this road all the time. I've been in that neighborhood. I didn't know it went
wonder
through.
there's
Not
no
on a
cars on
bike,
the
in
road
a
this
car. Had some business there many years ago. And they have a dead end right there on the
says dead
right.
end.
The yellow sign says dead end, but that's a fallacy because it turns out it's not a dead end.
Yeah,
I think they want to keep cars out of here.
I don't think it does.
So if you don't live in here, they don't want you coming through. So we go through, we take the necessary turns, and before long, so we didn't have to go back on Honier the way we started. So on the right here, we go right, we're gonna turn left. And this road leads us to Fish Creek. There's some riders up there from our group. I think it's Mark and somebody. We end up riding up to them.
$24 a month. And they won't up the fee. It's like
This is a climb, 4%. Nothing but climbs out here. That's why we head north. You don't have to think about pushing. You ride north all the time, you will get strong. Riding the climbs just get you in shape faster. This is the one that gets us to, I believe this gets us to Fish Creek. You guys can see how I stand and just sit like it's nothing. When your bike fits you should be able to do that. It shouldn't be a big deal. And you should always be in the spot you need to be in. So this is Fish Creek. We didn't need to go back to Honier, Egypt, all the way back. This is across the road is where we had that flat repair for Doug the last time when he flatted
Yep. On the opposite
on last
side.
week's ride. That's where we stopped in that neighborhood across the street. This is Fish Creek. And we turn north directly into the wind, and no one wants to go in front. So Scott proceeds to move up there. You can hear the bad boy. That's why it's cold. We're having north westerly flow. This front is supposed to move up the coast to the Carolinas and further northeast. So in this situation, you can simulate climbing. Keep your cadence reasonable. Get into a rhythm. Don't feel like you have to kill yourself when you get to the front. What ended up happening on this ride, I found out later, one of the members, Bob, gets dropped further on Fish Creek, and he texted Scott, who's in front of me here, to let him know that he was heading back, since he couldn't hold the pace. So he turned around and went downwind back home. He just needs to ride more. He's not conditioned for this level. It's going to take him some time and some investment in his fitness. That's what it takes. You just got to ride. You ride a lot, you will improve. You have a plan, you will improve much quicker and more systematically. If you have goals, you need a systematic plan to help you achieve those goals. What Paul and I are talking about is, yesterday we came here and it was raining. This water was not this high. This is the water that was flooded on the other road that's flooded Honia, Egypt. This road is parallel to Honia, Egypt. And as we go over the bridge, we realize the water has risen quite a bit since Saturday during the rain. You can see the water. This is like a 12-foot bridge. Water everywhere. As we go across the bridge, you will see water on the side of the road. That's why no one built there. This is all part of the creek. It's all spread. Normally it's dry there. And we got about 4 or 5 feet of water just spread out a whole area. It's become a lake. They call it Lake Creek. That's the name of this particular creek we're going over. So normally all of that is dirt. You can see the brown. Not today. And when we came yesterday, it was not like that. I did not notice any water over there. So the water level went up Saturday night. You can see I'm using the road here because this shoulder ends. I don't know why they wait till the end of the shoulder to move over. It ends. Take the lane as soon as the lane is available. It goes from 1 to 2 lanes. Take the lane. See all the debris over there? I don't have to deal with that. Just use the road. When we came yesterday, we were on the road. Those of you who saw the earlier part of the video, this is the same road Paul and I came up on in the rain. We went to Ridge Lake Shores on Saturday in the rain. This road does not get flooded. If this road floods, we've got issues. This is high up. Randy pulled off, that looks like Randy, yeah, he pulled off the front. This is hard. Look at the speeds. They're gonna keep coming down. And now, this is a situation where if you have a power meter, it's very, very good because it's very objective. You can decide I'm gonna hold blah, blah, blah watts and you stay there. If you're really good at feel, you can say I'm gonna stay 2 or 3 out of 5 or whatever. If you're doing on a 10 scale, you say 7 out of 10, and you can gauge your effort. There's a tendency for people to push too much into the wind because they're trying to replicate the speed on a fair day. This is not a fair day. You're riding, it's cold, you're going uphill, and it's windy. There's no way you're going to replicate the same speeds without really increasing the effort tremendously. But everybody that was taking a pull felt like they had to kill themselves. That's what I noticed on this stretch. That's why Bob got dropped and he just turned around and went back. He just simply could not stay with the group. And the wind, and another thing, the wind is coming from the north and from our left. Look at how we're lined up. They really ideally should be on the left where he is right now as he pulls up. That's where we should be. Everybody's so afraid to use the road. When we ride at our level, when we're really riding, we use the road, and you have an echelon. Because without the echelon, the weaker riders don't stand a chance. Because everybody's fighting to win from the left. When Paul and I ride, I would be more to the left, he would be on my right. There are parts of this ride where I was helping point out to him where I thought the draft was. Because you got to always search for it because it changes. Because it's blustery. You see the gap here? That's a significant gap. He's catching a lot of wind here. Because even though it's blowing from the west, it's more from the north. So you got to be close to at least get some benefit. You need to be within a foot or less. Otherwise, you waste a lot of energy. I'm staying close because I'm not going to waste any energy. I'm staying close because this is a small group. And my plan is when I get to the front, I want to stay there longer so the weaker riders can take a break and also the people who have pulled can take a break. Instead of going up there, pulling like a madman for 30 seconds and breaking up the group. And the funny thing is, when I take my pulls like I do, when I get off the front, they're like, you know, good pull, good pull. Dan told me that, and I told him it felt kind of slow. And what I meant was, the speeds were slow. There's not much I could do about it. I was pulling probably 25 kilometers an hour. I wasn't trying to do 30 kilometers an hour because I could do it, but then the group would split up. Because when I took over, we were going up those big rollers then. You will see later on. So I'm always thinking about the rest of the group at this stage. This is not a race. Been there, done that. And there's a lot of riders who have not competed or had structured training or structured coaching. They don't really understand that. I don't bother them because everybody just needs to ride and do what is working for them. And hopefully by trial and error, they'll learn or seek out the information. So that's why I call you guys legends. Those of you who are on here trying to learn, you're legends of cycling. You're seeking information. You'd be amazed how many riders ride for decades and don't thoroughly understand the nuances of our sport. And that's not just cycling, just life in general. Not everybody wants to really spend the time to be a student of what they're involved in. And that's their prerogative. So just know, just because somebody has been riding for a long time doesn't mean they know everything about the sport or they know how to do things the proper way. And I guess that's why you guys are on this channel. There's a lot of people that do things differently. I never got the name of this gentleman that pulled off just now. He was the one fiddling with his rear brakes. There was nothing wrong with the brakes, but he said they felt differently because of the gloves he was wearing. I couldn't relate because the gloves we have, the feel is the same, but they're designed properly. So, like everything, they're not created equal. Do the research, get the good stuff. They're not that far apart in dollars, especially if you wait for the sales. You hear that wind? And whoever's at the front feels the need to try to match what the other guy was doing on an easier part of this route. You don't do that. Keep your pace within your limits. So I'm just about to get out of zone 1 into zone 2 here. I'm sorry, top of zone 2. Going to the bottom of zone 3. I'm setting an endurance pace. I'm kind of soft pedaling, but I'm very close. Look at the gap between the camera and my wheel. He should be closer. That wind is blowing. I'm sitting on the left because I want to avoid any debris that's on the right. And my tires just ride better on clean pavement. I don't know about you guys, but I just want to stay where there's no issues with getting a flat or whatever. So I stay a little to his left. He seems to be riding on the edge of the road. I don't know why. I'm trying to stay in the draft because this wind is stiff. There's no reason why we can't use this lane. I don't know why they're hugging it, that little shoulder. Shoulder's too small for a group this size. In this situation, the bike barn, it will be taking up the whole lane. I'm only there because that's where the draft is. probably in a 53, 19, or 21, something like that. I didn't do a lot of shifting because really with the wind, the speeds don't change that much. So he pulled off. I believe this is Scott. He pulled off and I take over. If you notice, my speed will stay about the same. The effort will stay about the same. Instead of surging off the front. It's not a race. You go and you take your pull. I intend to stay here until we cross the overpass. That was what was on my mind. After a few kilometers, Mark will come and tell me that he wants us to turn left so we don't have to fight the wind. This is a very good shot that Paul got here on this side. The gimbal was affected by the cold and the wind. This is where Mark comes up to tell me that he thinks we should turn left on a road called Leah Drive. He asks me if I know where it is. I nod, confirmation. I make it my business to know all these roads. I study the maps. Just in case there are closures and other things. You see my speed drop to 20 kilometers an hour. I'm not worried about speed. I'm keeping the effort the same because I know it's hard for the others back there. That's a climb we just went over, a little bump anyway. But with this wind, everything is hard. The wind is stiff. Wind does not bother me because I don't care about speed. That's why I do my training by time. With the wind, it just takes longer. I don't worry about the distance I cover. I focus on the effort for the duration that I'm out there. See where I'm riding. I'm on the left side of the white line. That's a clear indication that I'm using the lane. Even if I were riding solo, the drivers will understand that instead of riding on that little edge. There's no reason on a road like this. There are two lanes. It's not that busy. It's never busy on this road. When I come out here, that's where I ride. I don't need to be on the edge of the road. What if you mess up and hit the edge of that pavement? You're going down. Right here is I think it's the last bump before. No, this is not near the overpass. But I'm looking for Leah Drive at this point because I know I've got people following me. And my intent is to identify it, check for traffic, because we have to go into the left turn lane. It's going to be 3 lanes over because they have a left turn lane for Leah Drive. At the top of zone 2, thereabouts, creeping into tempo zone. So I check for traffic as I spot Leah Drive up there. You need to be able to do that. You need to be able to look behind without swerving. It's clear, I move over to the whole group. I only moved over knowing that it was clear for everybody. That's why you saw me look back multiple times. I'm not thinking about me, I'm thinking about the last guy in the group. If it weren't clear for him, I would stay there until it became clear. You can see it's clear. Everybody's in this lane. We're turning. Some people were not aware of it because I heard comments, we're turning left. I think Mark says we need to stop or something. I think at this point we discover that, what's his name, Bob has turned back. Then Dan asks if somebody has a pump, because his rear tire, he said he left home with it
I have one.
underinflated. That's what Paul said he had one. I told him I have one. So we pull into this driveway. Whenever possible, I get off the road. I don't like to stop on the road. Even if I have to get in the grass, I get off the road. If I'm changing a flat, there's no driveway, I get in the grass. Get off the road completely. We're not moving. So I give my bike to Paul here. I get my pump and just add air to Dan's, because we got the peak pocket rocket. And we add air to Dan's tire in no time. We're ready to go. Like those guys back there, see, they're in the way, there's cars coming. I don't like to stop on the road at all. It's just not a good idea.
I'm gonna turn this video off.
Yeah, turn it off.
Can you lay this bike against me real quick? Just here.
So I'm letting the bike use Paul so he can hold it with his leg. We'll go ahead and put air in Dan's tires.
Yeah.
I just put it in a ride.
Yabba dabba do. This is a day of days.
We're on Cannon Cutoff headed east. On the return, we've done the Tri-Lakes area, a road called Spring Branch. We want to run the camera there. But at this point, the group has split up. There's some guys that were going longer, but they were going slower, so we turned back. We had enough kilometers, and then plus our distance from the home, so we ended up doing almost 120 some kilometers. We got about 70 kilometers left, something like that. Debris on the road. We rode up right up to Mark and Dan. Besides the fact that Dan needed air in his rear tire, Dan's shifting was compromised the entire ride. Every time he'd shift his front derailleur, he would shift in the rear, but the chain in the front was jumping around like it was trying to jam. So he'd always have to wait. So he needs that bike serviced. When you come to the group ride, make sure your bike is ready for riding. Otherwise, you run the risk of just not being able to finish your ride with your mates. During the week, especially Mondays and Fridays, but that's what we use to make sure our bike's ready. Monday's a good day because you just rode over the weekend. You check everything on Monday, so you're ready to ride in the middle of the week. And then Friday, you check the bike again to make sure it's ready for the weekend. But I basically check my bike after every ride if there is an issue. If there isn't, I just clean it up for the next ride. Clean my bike after every ride. So whatever's there, I'm gonna notice it. If you're riding on the road and you're having problems, when you get home, deal with it. Don't put it off. You can't work on it yourself, get a mechanic to look at it. So you're always ready to ride. So because of his hiccup, what I call hiccups with his shifting, when we were following him, every time he tried to shift, even if it was one car, the front ring would jump, but he was shifting in the rear. So it was kind of odd. So we'd have to soft pedal and wait till he got it sorted, and we resume. Even here where he's pulling. So it caused a lot of yo-yo. So we got a bit of a tailwind here, tail crosswind from the right. We're headed southeast. You can see that we're doing, 41 kilometers an hour. Because of the draft, I'm in zone 1. Not only the draft and my fitness. So I'm in zone 1. Somebody else will be in a higher zone, and they're working harder. That's why when I'm pulling, I like to stay there a little longer. It keeps the group moving along, and it allows the riders that are not at our level more time in the draft. And I always keep it steady unless we're attacking. I'm looking around these guys. I'm not waiting on them to point anything out. There's a bag on the road there. I spotted that before we got to it. You can see I'm following Mark close. The speeds are up. This keeps my effort down. You will see me drift left, right, whatever. That keeps me with the ability to see around me. And I call it drift because I'm not turning, a slight movement like I'm hovering. I'm a little left of the white line here on purpose. That's where the draft is. The wind's coming from the right and behind us. So it's kind of like a semi-echelon. See Mark's moving over himself because he's got to wait for Dan when Dan shifts gears. Make sure your bike is in top condition for every ride, not just group ride. You're riding miles from home. A 20-mile walk is very long. I don't even know if I want to do that. You don't want to walk 20 miles. It'll take you about 5-6 hours. So the bicycle can get you far away from home, but make sure it's in tip-top condition. So Dan's done pulling, he pulls off. Mark takes over. You can see we started at 3C. This is over 2 hours into the ride. It says 4C. It did not go up much. We're right around 40 or 41 Fahrenheit. 4 Celsius. So it stayed cold. It's overcast. Did not bother us a bit because we had the right equipment. I have 3 layers. Base layer, middle layer, and that thermal jersey. The Pro Team thermal jersey. So I am toasty in there. Just right. My hands, I'm wearing a pair of liners and my deep winter gloves. This is not the time to be cute. It's the time to bring out the big dogs. It's time to bring out some warm stuff. That's why my shoes are covered. Those Belgian socks, my feet were toasty. They're great on a dry day. You don't want to do them when it's wet because they'll get wet. But those socks are designed to block the wind. The fibers in there, they block the wind, they still breathe. I don't know how to do it, but they do it. And they're reflective. We're working hard here. This is a grade that may not register. Look at Mark. See him rocking up there. He's working, putting power into the bike, but he can't reach the bottom of the strokes because his whole body moves. That's how you know something's up with the fit. You don't need to be rocking like that. So because my bike fits me, I use less energy to put out my effort. It takes less energy to get my bike going. You can see my heart rate is creeping up now to a sweet spot. Out of tempo. We've been going up for a while. Now it says 1%. I was wondering why it wasn't registering. I know I felt it on this ride. It's more than 1%. And it doesn't matter. The gearing that we're using, like a 53-19 or 53-17, we're riding, 35 kilometers an hour. We're working here. I still think Paul is not following close enough. That's too much of a gap there. He's catching a lot of it. And it may be because he's concerned about the other riders and what they do. Because Mark is hard to follow because Mark moves left and right a lot. In fact, on this ride, he calls Dan to go in the grass because Dan had overlapped Mark's rear wheel. And when Mark moved, Dan had to go in the grass in a situation like this on a climb. He didn't have any kind of issues, but we shouldn't have to do that. So when I follow Mark, I don't overlap because he's always moving left and right. Now Paul is closer. This is the way he's supposed to be followed. I'm right on Mark's wheel. I'm about maybe a foot to 6 inches off. I'm following him close. As long as you don't overlap, it doesn't matter because if something happens, I will go left or right. because you're not going to be able to use the brakes. You don't want to. The people follow you. If there was a hazard and Mark had to stop, I would go around him on either side. Most likely to the right, because cars are on the left. Ride lots and you have a structured plan, riding hard just looks easy. They can't tell by your body that you're going hard. They feel it. And sometimes they can't even see your speed. So right here I back off a little because I go easy on my wheels. I don't go over railroad tracks seated. Look at Mark. He doesn't even get up. He rides those what I call crappy tracks seated. I'm not going to do that. That's why I don't have to true my wheels. We didn't get a picture of it here, but we all see it. Mark's rear wheel looks like it's doing a salsa dance. It's moving all over the place, left and right. It's all out of true. It's a combination of the way he rides and also the fact that he's got that power meter up, which really has a history of just being weak. I own one. Got rid of it for that very reason. The wheel literally has lateral movement that's visible because of that hub. And then the way he rides, he hits all kinds of rocks. He hits everything on the road. So we ride away from these guys without trying. I just ride up to Mark. And in a little while, you will see Dan and the other guy come around Paul. And Paul starts to have problems with the camera. We get that sorted later. But the camera had bounced on, I think, his brake lever to where the gimbal's power button got touched and it went off. It had to sit there for a while. It takes a while. So we stopped because I looked back and I saw him messing around back there. So we stopped. You can see the camera went up and down because the gimbal, something's happening with it bouncing. You heard that rattle. He's messing with it. That's why he's behind there. You hear that? That's what caused the gimbal to go off. That power button on the side of the body.
There, it's on now. Let's
He'd
go.
given me the camera and I checked that the gimbal had been off because of what contact it had. So I turned it on here and then roll out. And so in a little while, he and I are discussing, because we're always trying to analyze. I just said home stretch there. We try to analyze what causes these things because we're all trying to learn from the situation. So I don't know how it went on.
It's on now. It was off. The camera was still on.
So he's trying to figure out what he said. Yeah, the camera was still on.
Somehow it got turned off because
he didn't know why the gimbal. The camera just went limp and started filming the sky. So I ended up editing that part out.
Where are those guys?
And right here, I'm asking for those guys because we went around the corner and they were just sitting there and they want us to go in front. And I just rolled through and now they're coming by. That's Dan. That's Mark. I didn't get the name of this other guy. So just the 5 of us came back. And the rest of the guys didn't want nothing to do with our case. So they said they were going longer. I told Paul, let's head back because we didn't need to ride that long. You don't want to do that every day. There are other things we could do. So Paul and I, we're discussing that. I thought, hey, it must have bumped something on our, we're trying to figure out why it went off. I don't know. Maybe the calibration was messed with all the contact. The gimbal shut down. I'm going to send an email to Removu and see if contact and overloading the calibration causes the gimbal to shut down. Because it's not the button. That button is recessed and you have to hold it. That's why we have trouble when we're wearing gloves. So somehow the calibration got overloaded. This cold weather, 4C, the gimbal's not happy. The gimbal thrives in 20C and up. So, so I will send an email and see if they can tell me what the impact the cold weather has on it, because the angle was off today. We kept spinning it around. Unlike last week where it was behaving great. So right here, after sorting the issue with the gimbal, I spun it around, get the calibration a little better. I stood up here to close this gap with these balls. do is we train to where the group we ride with, we can close up to them if we need to. That's the reason we train for the fitness. And then what we do is when we do ride with them, we spend more time on the front to push ourselves. That's why I'm not shy about pulling. I don't really care who does what after that. I want to be strong, so I get to the front and I dose out the effort. It's not a bike race. In a bike race, I wouldn't spend too much time at the front. There would be no point to that. So right here, I think it's some church or something. I think it's a church. I'm telling these guys to slow down because I see officers there, but it turns out they told us to go. Paul just told me they told us to go. So we're just going through. The cones mean caution. When they put the cones out, they don't even want cars coming in this lane. So people can come out of that church and turn and go south. So now we got to close the gap because those two guys at the front didn't even back off. And that's why I train like I do, because I can close the gap. It's not a problem. I just ride up the ball here. I'm flipping the camera around because it's at an extreme angle. I want to make sure we get a good shot. This has been a very hard ride. And I told Paul at the end later, we're talking about it, I told him, I said, he rode great today. We're in the Tri-Lakes area and we're just hammering those hills. So we've got a lot of hard kilometers in our legs just from today. Now right here, look, they just let Mark ride off. Dan's looking around. I'm like, I'm not closing it. You let the gap open, you're gonna close it.
You guys afraid of Mark's wheel?
You heard me. I said, you guys afraid of Mark's wheel? So then this guy decides he's gonna ride up. And here's the thing I talk about all the time. Why did he allow that gap to open and then expend this energy to close it? He should have just stayed on Mark's wheel. Dan had pulled off from pulling. So you stay in the rotation. You were already there. Now he's expending energy to get to where he already was. Don't do that. If you watch my cadence, that's all I use here. I just rev the gear, close the gap like it's nothing. I'm coasting right now. Just roll up to about 110 RPM was all I needed. 47 kilometers an hour, no big deal. I don't care about the speed. It's the effort. I'm sitting at the top of tempo and we're flying down this road because of the conditions. So I could be going up a climb at the same effort doing 22 kilometers an hour like yesterday in the rain, into the wind and up a climb. And that's why I tell people, quit worrying about speed. Focus on the power you're putting out if you have a power meter, or the effort for RPE, or the heart rate zone. Because you're not going to be able to peg an exact heart rate. That's what matters. That will transfer into whatever speed the conditions give you. If you can tolerate the zone, you'll be there. You can see I'm just kind of soft pedaling. Look at my RPMs all over the place, up and down. So I'm sitting to the left of Paul because that's what it drafted. I'm using this road. And where Mark is right now is perfect, but it's just accidental. You see him pulling? He pulled off on the wrong side. He should have stayed on the right, because that's where the wind is coming from the right and in our face. He should have stayed on the right, and then we come in so that he continues to give us shelter as we pull through. This is what you legends know because you're here on this channel. There's a lot of strong riders out there that don't really understand the little, like I said, nuances of our sport. Cycling is very complicated. It's deep. If you look at Paul, he looks relaxed. We're riding hard, but he's relaxed. The harder we go, the more we relax. So that the legs can do their work and you don't tap energy from the legs to deal with a clenched part of your body. You can't relax, you're not fitted to your bike. Don't spend a dime until you get a fit. You're not gonna run a marathon in shoes that don't fit you, don't ride a bike that doesn't fit you. Too much discomfort comes from that. You're just not optimal, you can hurt yourself. This guy ends up taking us. There's a little climb coming. When Paul and I usually come through here, right after we get over that climb, we usually turn off the power because we're in town. Once we get in town, we don't like to be riding too fast because we got too many people, our fellow citizens, in and out of the gas station and all the other places, yada, 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 that's there, not paying attention. So we tone it down and we kind of roll through there. Not everybody does that. These guys continue to ride as if to say we're out in the country. I ride differently on what we call the open road than in town. In town, I watch these guys like I've got 6 eyes. Because they just make so many mistakes. They just don't pay attention. Everybody wants to get in the car and be messing with other stuff instead of driving the car. So right about here, as soon as we go over that hill, we back off. When we ride solo, we tone it down, we just kind of roll in casually at a comfortable zone. See all the water, it was not there yesterday. It's the same bridge we're heading out. Now, a road like this, we're using a shoulder, but look at where we are. Because there's a lot of sand to the right, we're right near that white line. That guy in front has it right. I don't ride in the sand. I stay on the white line. The cars understand there's not much room, and we're trying our best. So a lot of them, like that truck you saw, they pass us wide, they wait. Because we don't want to ride in the sand. Right here, Paul starts to slow down. Then don't slow down. So we end up going around him because on the climb, he was slowing down too early. This is where we climb and then we back off. But he slowed down, that guy got a gap. So I went around him and I rode up to them. This takes a lot of strength because these guys are riding hard. They're not backing off here. I just ride up, so 3%, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. Got the K's in my legs. I'm just sitting there, you'll see Dan turn around to look, he sees me. He didn't expect me to be there because they had come around me as I was telling Paul to not slow down. So he knew I had been gapped because I was waiting for them to go around Paul. So that's why he didn't expect anybody to be there. So in a little bit, what I do is I ride up to let them know we're backing off. It's a good ride. You guys go ahead.
You guys go ahead. I'll see you later. Good ride.
So the guy acknowledges in the middle, and then Mark says,
Take care, Mark.
Mark said, take it easy. I told him, take care. So we're done. I just let him know. Because we're not going to continue to ride fast. We're in town now. We're going to back off and spin in.